Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 11 of Around the Sound Sports. My name is Ben Ray, your local podcast host here in Federal Way, Kent, Auburn, and Renton. We're continuing this series where we interview coaches and players and athletic directors across the South Puget Sound or across South King County. And we got another awesome episode today where we got Auburn Riverside head soccer coach Paul Lewis on the program. It was a disappointing season for him last year, but he's looking to rebound with the Ravens in 2026. Awesome episode on the way for you guys. And here is Auburn Riverside head coach Paul Lewis. I got another exciting guest on hand. He's the head coach of the Auburn Riverside girls soccer team, one of the more dominant forces over the past couple of years in the NPSL in 3A and 4A. He had a tough season last year, but he's looking forward to bouncing back this season. Everybody give a round of applause to Auburn Riverside head coach Paul Lewis. Paul, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks, Ben. Hey, by the way, you guys, everybody's got to pay attention to Ben. You bet so many sporting events. It doesn't matter what it is. You're just crushing it for kids, and I love it. So thanks for having me.
Hey, man, no problem, no problem. I'm really excited to get to talk to you. You know, a soccer mind in the time of the year for soccer. Like what an awesome environment the sport is in right now as we're looking at the U.S. men's national team and undefeated in their group in the World Cup.
Oh man,
has been off to a ripping start.
Yeah, this is is there a better time to be talking about soccer than right now? Honestly, it's peak right now. So
yeah, absolutely. So I guess we can start off. Last season, kind of a disappointing result for the Ravens. You come up short on the postseason, a team that kind of is almost penciled in every year to make the postseason. How did you kind of handle the end of the year? And for a team that had made the postseason every year since 2012, what was that experience like for you and this group?
yeah, the kids, you nailed it. Definitely felt a level of disappointment. I think that they do, over the years. Like we've been fortunate enough to be a playoff team for so many years in our history. That to not be there, there's a certain amount of pressure I think the kids kind of put on themselves, not realizing that sometimes other teams are just on it and they make the plays to get through. For us, it was a challenging year. We had lost a lot of players from the previous year, happens to all programs, but the mix of our team was a challenging one where we had to ask a kid who was like a returning first team all-leaguer who's a defender for her club team, had been a midfielder for us in the past, and we're like, hey, we need somebody to score some goals. And she took on that challenge. And the one crazy thing about the season is, yes, for sure, we were disappointed that we didn't make the playoffs, but for the majority of the games, we were very competitively in them. So it never felt like we were like some team that was like super struggling. It felt like we had chances. We had the ability to be in games. We had some really dramatic kind of end of the game. Harper on two occasions had like game-winning headers in like the last couple minutes of games versus one South Kitsap and Kentwood. So there was lots of dramatics, but definitely as the season came to an end, we kind of wore down and we just needed one result out of our last like 4 games and just could not get that W. So yeah, in the end, there's like a little bit of a loss of satisfaction, kind of like, oh man, like, are we the ones that didn't do it? I was really proud of them for like continuing to grind through the last game. Our last opponent we played was Stadium, who was just a team on fire, super talented. And we were like, we got to try to get a win versus this team to try to make it happen. And we didn't lay down, we lost 2-1. So it was a good game. Yeah, definitely last year started out rough. One of our better attacking players, an incoming freshman, tore ACL in the spring. And so her being gone was a pretty big blow. And she just got cleared at the start of this month to start playing like full contact and everything. She's super driven. So we're excited for her to like get back on the horse. And, I think there's people that think that with that comes a little bit of optimism to the next season and being able to like try to climb back into it.
Yeah, especially, hope springs eternal. So,
of course, yes.
there's always, before that first game gets played, there's always a good sense of optimism. Uh, who are some players you're kind of you talked about a couple, but who are some players you're looking forward to taking that next step and kind of rekindling that fire of, okay, we got to reset the standard at Riverside.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things that's challenging, but also super exciting about being a coach of high school athletics is you really do have like this really short window. It's not a full year round thing, so you're not getting to see all those kids all the time. So you've got to kind of try to find a way to like make the mix work in this short period. And so kind of going into it with the right mindset really is helpful. And so I think this year we've kind of got some things going for us. Like obviously Crystal is going to be a sophomore now, and she's going to finally be able to play. So I think there's some optimism with her. She's a really fun player. She's an exciting player to watch. She's a very super good teammate. So I think really that it really starts with like building that like culture of a focus, like going forward. Like, hey, here's what we're doing. Everybody eyes on the prize, and let's move forward together. Kind of creating that momentum because you don't have a ton of time to kind of work through things. You got to kind of do it in motion. So she's one of those people that I think caused people excitement early on. Stella Beiersdorf is an athlete that has played defense, has been a starter for all of her years. Hasn't got like a ton of like league recognition necessarily because she's played with some other very talented players. But she's very driven. She's like our captain, like our heart and soul. The kid that's going to give that energy and like be the inspiration with like her voice on the field. And I think kids really draw from that. There's a bunch of freshmen that came in last year that weren't hurt that we had like a ton of starters that were freshmen and they got into the fire and got hardened by it and they're ready to come back. Raylene, Brooklyn, Minkirat. There's a whole slug of kids that have come in and I think in the girls side of sports in high school, I think that jump between freshman year and sophomore year is like pretty massive. And maybe for boys too, but boys kind of grow as they get to be like juniors and all of a sudden seniors, they just get bigger in size. But I think for girls, there's a huge jump. So there's an opportunity for those kids to jump in. And then, I don't want to put pressure on them, but there's a really good crop of freshman kids coming in. Some of those who are strikers, thank goodness, because Harper, she's off to college soccer now. So we don't have her to score goals. But some of those kids coming in who are goal hungry and can add to like this kind of, we have a nucleus of like real kind of defensive minded, kind of gritty kids. And we just need a few kids that want to put the ball in the back. We need the kids that want to score and celebrate. And, that's the fun stuff.
Talk to me a little bit about the difficulties of last season, right? Six total wins. How different was that from years past where, you might have been able to kind of dominate some games and some things might have come a little bit easier. But last year, it probably seemed that you had to grind for all 15 of those points. How different had that been in years past versus this year or versus last year?
Yeah, I would say that, and coaches know this, like sometimes you have a group of kids that can kind of enforce their will a little bit on the game, and other teams may have to adjust to you a little bit more when you're playing. And I think last year was a change from that. So years previously, I think we were kind of able to play how we wanted to play and kind of challenge other teams to, try to stop us from doing what we wanted to do. Last year was a little bit more of like, how do we organize ourselves to kind of like make this game a game that's winnable for us? So we kind of had to change and a little bit more kind of game planning for other teams. And sort of when you start to do that, there's definitely a margin of error that becomes like smaller and smaller. And so little mistakes are ones that are like not maybe as easy to recover from. And then the challenge is like when you do have a few like rough results in a row, like trying to coach mentally, like through that, like how are we going to get back up for the next game? How are we going to keep that self-belief going? And that's always the challenge. And actually, that's what I'm really proud of the kids. I feel like they always did kind of come back and have that belief that they could compete and didn't ever like roll over. We had some very talented teams in our league. We just always do. It's a league that's very, very challenging. And so it's an uphill battle a lot. But I think that's part of the toughest thing is like when you're not meeting your expectations and it's not, some things aren't coming as easy as maybe they have done in the past, especially for those kids that maybe played for the teams that were maybe a little bit more. More mistakes could be made because you're able to like make up for those. And all of a sudden,
Mhm.
it's not like that. There's some pressure that gets put on and some stress, and it's a different coaching challenge. I think every coach would probably tell you that it's fine. It's a good challenge to have, and that's a good thing to try to coach through. And your hope is that the lessons you went through last year with those kids and the way even the kids that graduated kind of handled that journey have like educated the kids that are coming through to be like, okay, now we know the grit. Now we got to add a new mix in. We got to be a little bit more, maybe aggressive thinking in our minds and kind of go for it a little bit more. Um,
Sure.
but definitely there's it's easier to find lessons in some of those hard moments than sometimes when things are going a little bit easier for you.
Mhm.
So maybe we try to look at it that way.
Yeah. You brought up the strength of the league. I mean, Tahoma goes to the finals. Stadium went on a run late in the year. How difficult has the jump from 3A to 4A been on the soccer field, and how much of a challenge is it for when you have a young group to face, these teams that are bigger and faster and stronger?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's funny. There's a little fact for you. So out of all the teams that are not like Kinko, or the leagues that are not Kinko,
Hmm.
so all the South Sound leagues, everything, like our league is the only the one to have appeared in the finals the
Yeah.
most over the past few years. Like, so obviously Tahoma did it, and then we did it in 2019.
Hmm.
Besides that, you're going to find a lot of Kinko schools that have been in it. So
Yeah.
so it's a really tough league. I'm really proud of our league, as far as like how challenging it can be. I mean, Tahoma
Hmm.
is it's a big school. So like the
Yeah.
the challenge with that is that, like, gosh, they could get a kid that's injured or sick or whatever, and they've got another kid that's maybe a similar ability that's ready to kind of fill that spot. A little deeper
Hmm.
program. But that being said, the Kent Ridges of the world, stadium is perennial. They've been there like all the time. Even through 3A, when we were a stadium, we had some great matchups. They got some, we got some, but really well coached teams that are super hard nosed and hard to play against. And when we went down to 3A for a bit, it was I don't know. It didn't necessarily feel full 3A because at the time we still played all the 4A teams in our league. Like they didn't have like an exclusive just going to play the 3A teams. We had like a mixed schedule, so we still played the Tahomas and the Kent Ridges and everybody.
Hmm.
Like so,
Yeah.
it didn't necessarily feel like we left. I know that now our schedule's different because we just play within our classification.
Yeah.
But at the time we didn't. So it sort of felt like we were never gone. But it is really challenging. I was really happy for Tahoma because they are always a quality team. And it seemed like it had been a while. I mean, I was coaching the last time that they had won a state title. So I do remember that team, but it's been a long time. So that was a super talented team. Well-deserved trip to the finals, and they
Hmm.
represented really well. But yes, those schools are perennial. And then obviously you got, Kentwood last year was playing really well. Um, and then Mount Rainier, super scrappy, like team that sometimes people overlook, but like very talented soccer school, like boys and
Hmm.
girls. So you don't really have a ton of weak spots in the schedule. You can't necessarily take a week off or like let up. It's going to
Yeah.
be there the entire time. And so that can be really good. I think, like that sharpens you. The
Hmm.
one thing I wish we could do is years ago, we in our league, we had the rule that every game, if it was tied, we'd go automatically to a shootout. Um, and that really prepared us for the playoffs because some of those
Yeah.
games are so tight, they end up going to shootouts. And that practice
Hmm.
was amazing. We don't do that now. Maybe we'll get back to it at some point. Um,
Yeah.
but yes, like I think that the quality of opponent um, is very challenging. I think the kids enjoy that. I think incoming kids that are like freshmen, they already know, like, oh, we're gonna it's Tahoma week or it's Stadium week or we're
Hmm.
playing
Hmm.
Kentwood this week, and they get really excited for that. So that gets us pumped up too, from years of
Yeah.
going against those
Yeah.
kids. And so yeah, it is exciting. It is daunting at times, but it does make really entertaining soccer.
If I'm not mistaken, you had a young keeper last year. Was your keeper last year a freshman or sophomore?
She was a sophomore,
Um,
yeah. So Sydney,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So for her in her
yep.
first 2 years to face these teams and to face these like teams that are just throwing out Division I players, how excited are you to see her take that next step and as she's now an upperclassman and be someone who can be super solid in the back and kind of lead somehow from the front as well.
Yes, Sydney's amazing. By the way, like that kid is. I mean, you talk to coaches that get to coach their different players, and
Mm,
watching her in practice and the things that she's able to do athletically. That's a high pressure position. You know that soccer. It's like you can be bored for like 5 minutes, and then it's like 20 seconds of extreme chaos.
yeah.
Sydney's great. She actually holds the record at her school as a freshman for the most shutouts as a freshman. So she had a
Mm,
great start to her career. Last year, not quite as many shutouts because we were definitely on the back foot a little bit more than in years past. We relied on her a ton. Um, she's been in this league, like in our league we've had like so many amazing goalkeepers. It's just crazy going to like the league meeting at the start and the end of the year and talking to different coaches and being like, oh my gosh, like got this kid and this kid and they're going there and there. So Sydney's
mm,
maybe been like caught in the wash a little bit, like being the young kid and all these older like really accomplished goalkeepers, but she's definitely ready to like shine. We will rely on her 100%. She gives us a ton of confidence. um, she is she's not like the biggest bodied person,
mm,
so she does it with just a lot of quickness and decision making. Um, but yeah, we will completely rely on her. The back line 100% gets a ton of confidence from her play. And like I said before, with teams that aren't the Tahomas of the world, like part of
mm,
it's just keeping kids healthy. Making sure our
mm.
goalkeeper
Yeah.
can make it. I don't know if you remember, but her Sydney's freshman year, we were going to the second round of districts, and she got a concussion
Mm,
in the previous game, and so we had to play against Stadium, and we didn't necessarily have another kid in the program that was a goalkeeper. We had one girl who had played JV goalkeeper, Maya, and
mm,
she did a great job stepping up, totally fearless.
mm.
But yeah, keeping her healthy is going to be like job number one, because when she's there, she brings it and she's fiery and like definitely like a weapon too. Like she's a great distributor of the ball. So super excited for
Uh,
Sydney.
yeah. And also recently, when players leave your program, they're going to really high level soccer as well. Have you had the chance to, kind of reflect on these past 5 to 6 years of players playing Division 1 soccer, Division 2 soccer from your program and kind of establishing a standard of if you do your job here at Riverside and you put in the time, you put in the work, this is what you can accomplish. Have you kind of had the time to reflect on, the amount of college soccer players that have come through Auburn Riverside?
Yeah, it is crazy. Like I actually would talk regularly in my first 10 years or so of coaching how like I had these really talented soccer players, and
Hmm.
they would all choose to like not playing soccer. They're like, my journey's done now. And I'm like, you can totally go play.
Hmm.
They're like, no, I just want to go to school. And so I was waiting for who's our first kid that's going to be like D1 from Riverside. We had talented players that would go play D1 like basketball because they were like a
Hmm.
multi-sport kid. Um, and then finally we had a girl go, and she went to college like all the way across the country, D1. We were like super excited. But yes, over the past like 8 years or so, there's been a just like a plethora of spoils of kids who are really, really into wanting to go play at the next level and be really successful. One of my big regrets of kind of just life circumstance is that we had COVID happen
Hmm.
right when I had like a confluence of some of those really talented players
Hmm.
all on the team at the same time. And that was the season that we didn't lose a game. We played every game that we could play. We won, um,
Hmm.
and they were super dominant. I wish they could have had a chance to play at a state tournament and go for a championship, because we had just gotten second state and they were like dialed in, and we just gotten some freshmen who now are kids that are playing D1 soccer. So
Hmm.
the Rory Murrays and the Ava Mortons and the Samia Shell and Caitlin
Hmm.
Riggs at Idaho, and we got Natalie Fish out there playing. Just like Layla Bahar, like everywhere there's kids that have gone on to play, and now Harper is going on
Hmm.
too. So it does feel like all of a sudden there's just like this wave of players, and then I gotta admit to you, like kids that are in the program now are like they see that and they're like, that's I want to do that. Like I want to be
Hmm.
the next whatever. I want to go to the next step. I want to do this, kind of carry on like that legacy. So I think there is like a little bit of a magnetic draw when you get
Hmm.
maybe the first
Absolutely.
couple kids that take that leap and want to kind of risk it and go for it and take that challenge. And so it was really exciting to watch. all these kids play. Obviously, watching UW women's team,
Mm-hmm.
that's 3 Riverside kids play and do as well as they did winning the Big Ten title. And Samia got like the Big Ten tournament player of the tournament. Um, Even those guys playing in their semi-pro ball right now, we got ones that play for Tacoma Galaxy and Salmon Bay and Roadies, and just really exciting to see them enjoy their soccer and kind of pass on. And those are people that are like keep wanting to come back and like check back in and like be part of the program. And I mean, we finished up practice late in the season last year, and all of a sudden I turn around and there's Samia just standing on the sidelines, just like, "Hey, coach," and I was like, "Hey guys," and she's like, "No, don't make a big deal. I just wanted to come hang out and check out what's going on with the program and everything." So that's kind of what feels good, is to have kids go on and then like still like reach back and want to be connected with the kids that are coming through next, and kind of I don't know, pass on some of that tradition and some of that drive and inspire them a little bit. So yeah, it is super fun though to watch those kids play. They're talented and they're super positive and great kids. So young women, what am I saying, kids? I had them when they were kids.
We're not even in July yet, but the beginning of the season will pop up before we know it. What do you want to see from your upperclassmen working with this crop of freshmen and the sophomore group to kind of know that this team's gonna be ready to go from game one this year? What do you want to see over the course of the summer to know that this group is going to be as successful as they can be come game one?
Yeah, I think just that that's a great question, by the way, because it is an important part. I think that the focus is one thing, like seeing that like they can look to you and be like, okay, this is what we're doing. But with that, you also have to have another side of it, which is like you have to be focused, but at the same time, like have your arms out to bring those people under your wing, right? Because one of the hardest things coming in is as a freshman, like, man, like it can be pretty intimidating, just like the whole thought of high school, bigger players. I mean, I already talked to a parent of a freshman who was just like, wow, there was like a lot of nerves, but like these first workouts of the summer really made her feel like she belonged and that she was ready. I think that's part of it, because like we kind of tell our upperclassmen, like I know it feels like it's like your senior year or your junior year, coming to an end, but like you need these players to feel like they belong and they can contribute and they're important. And that will end up helping you in the end as they're more comfortable to be able to play with you. So I think just creating that, and that's one of the things I think is important about maybe girls soccer, football, volleyball, cross country, is the build up from kids coming out of 8th grade, and then you have that summertime going right into your season, and trying to break down some of those barriers, because we all start tryouts like 2 weeks before school starts, and just trying to make those athletes feel like they're not just along for the ride, but hey, you're part of this now. You're an important part of it. Whether you're going to end up being a varsity kid, a JV kid, or whatever, C team kid, like, but you're in it. You're part of us. Let's go. And I think that's what I'm the most proud when I see is kids that the older kids taking that challenge. I just talked to Stella today, and Stella was like, yeah, like, let's go, like on board. I'm ready to go forward. And they're for soccer, for all sports, they're busy in the summer. There's tons of tournaments they play in. So there's lots of things they're getting pulled different directions, but just to come and spend a certain amount of time with this group of community members, right? That's the cool thing about high school sports is it's not like you're playing with all these people from all over. You're playing with people that like live down the street, the kids that you went to kindergarten with or whatever. So touching base with those people, like building those trust relationships, and then sharing like that common goal and a drive, super powerful. And I don't want to get too crazy about like comparing the sexes or whatever, but I will say there's a magic that happens in female athletics, and I didn't know it until I became a coach of females. But like when a group of women like join together in common cause, it is like an amazing connective thing that it blows my mind. I'm constantly amazed by it. So it's a little miracle that we get to try to like foster every fall, and I'm excited for it. I think that the kids are ready. I drive by all these schools and see kids out there working hard, working with their teammates and meeting new people. And I think breaking down those barriers and then sharing your goal and like telling everybody they're an important part of it is really key. And it kind of gets everybody moving in the same direction.
Yeah. You taking the time to come on this call.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, and shout out to all those coaches out there working hard. I see football coaches out there grinding, everybody. The time you're putting in, a lot of it's volunteer at this time of year. So that time you're putting into kids, super valuable. It matters in like the schoolhouse. It matters in their household. So props to all you out there working hard. Proud of you.
Huge shout out to Paul Lewis for coming on the program. Excellent conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly did. We'll keep these episodes coming in the future with more coaches. I promise we'll get some players on here and some athletic directors in the future. Please remember to like and subscribe this video on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at Around the Sound Sports. We'll continue to post clips from this episode, the next one, and the next one after that. And subscribe to your local paper as well. The Federal Way Mirror at thefederalwaymirror.com, the Auburn Reporter, the Kent Reporter, and the Renton Reporter.com. A subscription is $5 a month. You get unlimited access to the online catalog, and you get a printed copy to your address if you live in a service area. Thank you to everyone for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode of Around the Sound Sports, and I'll see you around the sound.